Hey everybody, I want to show you how I'm going to do a yarn wall. Now, if you followed me for any length of time, you know I already had a yarn wall here. I took it all down and completely emptied out the room and started over. And so I've got new wall color. I painted, I put up this cool stuff along here. I changed some of the lighting. I haven't replaced that yet, but trust me, it's coming. I painted the pegboard black because what I found was it just wasn't crazy with the little polka dots poking through when I had the yarn wall up there before. So I'm thinking the black will be a way to kind of make it all kind of glow. And it will become the art piece and the focal point of the room, which is really cool. I will probably leave it uncovered more of the time now. I don't know, we'll kind of see how it goes. This room has 2 windows, so it gets a lot of natural light. I have found that my hand-dyed yarns, the ones that I dyed myself, were not that color fast, while the professional stuff was. So I will be putting that first section over there will probably be the natural yarns that don't have any color in them, so that if they get a little bit of natural light, it's not going to be a big deal. They're not going to disintegrate. The color is not going to completely be sucked out of them. So that's cool. Also, I want you to know that if you decide to do this, here's what you don't do. Don't go to a big box store and try to buy pegboard hooks 2, 3 at a time. It will cost you a fortune. What I did was I went to an online retailer and bought heavy duty metal pegboard shelving hooks, 50 packs, okay? So now I have a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch. So this from here down is the long ones, and then from here to here is the 6-inch, and then the rest of them are 4-inch. So that was a very cost-effective way for me to get a lot of hooks without spending a fortune, which is really good if you're going to try to do something like this. Also, since this room is completely white and my little computer speakers were black, I decided to go ahead and put them on the wall so that I could have them kind of camouflage into that black. Now I may go here and paint these little boards black so that they don't show, and hopefully they can kind of disintegrate into the wall. But that and a little Amazon Echo over here, that way I have the music in the room without having to look at speakers, which is really what I'm going for. I really want kind of a minimalist feel, because genuinely it's going to be a little office chair, my comfy chair, and a rug on the floor and the loom, and I'm going to try to keep it at that. I have a little cart here for my office stuff, and I have 2 other little carts that can kind of roll and be very universal in the space. I just want to keep it very super minimalist. Let me show you my favorite part. Aside from the yarn, here's the other favorite part of the room. Come on now. Come on, work with me here. Okay, I gotta admit that this is absolutely one of my favorite parts. Now, we're in the middle of the day, so you really can't see it that much, but after dark, it becomes absolutely a place, just a world of its own in here, which is so much fun. I love what light does. And in an all-white room where there's a lot of texture, I think it's going to be so much fun to have that combination with the yarn on the wall. And that's going to be the color and the experience of the room. Also, my other favorite feature of the room, I will show you. I am in love with this wall of texture. Now, this is a plant-based fiber 3D tile. It's like cardboard, and they're not terribly difficult. Everything about it is kind of tedious, but nothing about it is particularly difficult. So we went ahead and installed them, a little bit of glue, a little bit of adhesive, the nail gun, and then a bunch of caulk on all the seams, and 1 coat of primer, 1 coat of paint. I got my cool little black chair and all of my books into the closet. And this is really a big key for me in getting the clutter, the feel of a cluttered room just books make a room feel cluttered to me. Now, I mean, you know, people have different perspectives on this, but I was so happy to get the books out of the space and into my little closet. So, and of course, I have to have them by color. It's just who I am. And these are kind of fun. The beauty of having an office set up by carts is that you can bring something out and use it. Like the other cart has the printer on it. And so I can bring it out and use it and then put it away when I'm done. And I am absolutely loving that. And they fit in the closet either on the horizontal or straight on. And that's really cool. So I lost a shelf of books by putting those two carts in there, but I think what I'm gaining is kind of worth it. It'll be okay. So let's put some yarn on the wall, shall we? It's time to organize some colors. And I'm the kind of person that I would buy, when I was a kid, I would buy a box of crayons and then take them all out and sort them and enjoy putting the colors all back the way I wanted, and then never really use them. I never really found crayons to be that fun to use, but to organize the colors is so much fun to me. So here we go. Organizing the colors on the yarn wall is just really something I've been looking forward to. So let's do this. I'm using 3 different sizes of pegboard hooks. From here down, these are about an 8-inch length. These are about a 6-inch length, and then these are about a 4-inch length. And so what that does is it gives me the opportunity to have skeins, a couple of skeins deep down here where they can hang down, and that's fine. And then when I have the smaller rolls of specialty yarn, maybe it's a more expensive fiber or something like that, where one little ball will fit nicely up here. You know, I can put a skein along the bottom and that works out really well. And I can even put a couple on there and stack them up. Whereas up here, it's going to be more special yarns, the silks and the specialty fibers. So those are going to be ones that may only be one on there. There may only be one on the hook, and that's fine. So it's kind of, this is the system that has worked for me. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but I have really enjoyed having it this way. So see what you think. All right, so far I have all of one kind here and all of one kind here, more or less. So what I've done is all of the Peruvian wool, the palette yarn from Knit Picks, all of that is right here. I've kept it together. And then these are weaving yarn, and this is this is also one of my favorites because the colors are so great. This is Magenta Highland Cones. I think it gives the lot number. This is Harrisville Designs yarn, specifically for weaving. So I've got one row of that because the colors are great. So when you are buying yarn and you find one that you really love working with, make a note of that because it's really helpful information going forward. To put my winding thing, you know, I mean, this is amazing. I will use it. Actually, I use it on the back porch because it's so handy to use it out there. So I don't really need to keep it set up here in the room, but this turned out that it worked out really great. I have a peg here to keep the speaker from falling over, and then to put this contraption here turned out to be really great space for it. So I'm still looking for things like that I can do to keep all of it neat and available at my fingertips and just really organized. So this is part of the fun for me. So I'm going to continue with the wool. everybody, it's day 2 of playing with the yarn wall and getting it all put back together. I found that it became important to me to put all the pastels right here on this row and to put the brights right here on this row. So that way it kind of forms the foundation of the collection, and then everything else can kind of fit in between. Now I've also found that I'm not crazy about having variegated yarns on the wall in the collection, so I'm going to try a different approach with that and see if that works. But this is the fun part about this for me, is that I play with it a little while, and if I'm not crazy about how it turned out, then I just change it. And that's, this is the part that's so much fun. So I'm just going to continue playing. Hi everybody, I wanted to show you how my yarn wall turned out. You can tell that I'm not a big fan of earth tones because literally this is all the orange that I have, and then there's just a little bit of red over here, a little bit of red right here and here. So I'm not a fan. It's obvious what colors I'm not a fan of and that I won't use. And last time I tried to weave with something that was in colors that I didn't like, it took It took most of the winter, honestly. It was awful. It really, interestingly enough, it kind of shut me down. Not, thankfully I don't have to work with colors I don't like anymore. So let me kind of give you a feel for how I have this organized. This row of yarn is all from one company, one style. It's called Palette Yarn from knitpicks.com. And I've taken that whole row of pastels and put them there. Now this, to me, this one doesn't really belong and this one doesn't really belong, but I've kept that as the latest point on the wall. And then here, similarly, I have a row of the brights. And so when I want to do something that's very tonal and puts those brights in a row, I know exactly where to go to get them. And everything from here and down, with the exception of the skeins at the bottom that haven't been wound yet, everything from here to here is wool. So I know if I am working on a project that's going to be felted, I know exactly where to reach, which is pretty cool. Everything above is something that has some special fiber in it. And then on the very top, I have a row of variegated yarn. I'm not crazy with how variegated yarn looks on the wall, so I have, for the most part, taken it out of the body of the wall and put it in that top row. And yeah, I do have more yarn. But this is the good, what I consider the good fibers. I'm a little bit of a snob, but I'm learning that, you know, fiber is fiber. I also have some handy tools here. My winder is really handy, and it fits very nicely there on the edge, on the end of the pegboard. And it helps to keep my little speaker in place. I have a computer speaker here and a computer speaker here. They are included in the wall because they are black, and I wanted to keep all of that color together. I'm very happy with the choice to paint my pegboard black, and everything else, all the other walls in the room, the fabric, the curtains, with the exception of my great comfy chair, everything else is white. So it really is working. I'm really happy with how that works. So there it is. There's my yarn wall. I have a group of neutrals over here, and the beauty of having the neutrals closer to the window means I'm less likely to lose some things to sun damage. I have found, after having a yarn wall in place for a number of years, that hand-dyed things will be destroyed by sunlight, whereas professionally dyed things don't. They hold their color very well. So I will probably leave it uncovered most of the year this year, because I'm going to be working more with yarn and less in my office. That is my New Year's resolution to myself as of COVID. Learning that I've just been spending too much time in my office, and it's time to spend the time doing what I really, really matters to me. And color is my language. It is my mother tongue. So it's time to get back in it and to just enjoy what happens in that flow, in that creative flow. So yeah, I got all the naturals on the end, and the color. And the really fun thing about this room is that inevitably I sit there in my comfy chair and I just look up at the wall and I plot what I'm going to do next. And I think about it. And that color with that color with that color. It's going to be gorgeous. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. As a matter of fact, that's where I'm headed right now. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.